Your money in the Philippines. What could possibly go wrong? I decided to do this video because in the last couple of months I've received quite a number of emails, comments, other forums that I've been aware of where people have had issues getting to their money when they're overseas. Anyway, this is a demolition site. Talked to an older gentleman that lives near here. He said they're going to build a new condominium down here, not very far from the uptown area. Anyway, not sure. It looks like a pretty big area, so whether it's going to be very modern or yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, I'll point out a few things around this walk. Uncle Brew over there, and Julie's is a bake shop. Uncle Brew. A lot of these little, I think they're franchises. 39 pesos for ice cold drinks, basically coffees, other flavored drinks, teas. Anyway, you might be enticed, persuaded to invest in a business here. I've had the first girl that I dated. She tried to talk me, took me to a business meeting, some kind of multi-level marketing thing. There was even an American who was involved in it. Some top actors from the Philippines who were involved in the whole project. And the American, who I think seemed like he was one of the top people involved in this operation, he came to me and said, "Well, yeah, you can't own you can only own 40% of a business, but if you trust your girlfriend." And I said, "I don't even know her that well. No, I'm not going to trust her." I forget how many thousands of pesos investment it was, kind of a franchise, and they had a number of different offerings. One was like a shomai, some kind of food little stand, and you could locate it different places. And if it didn't work out, they would help you find a different location. Anyway, no, investing in a business here, especially if you don't have 100% control, it's kind of like going to Vegas and gambling. If you've got money to lose, you might do that. I've heard many stories where people have gotten involved in a business and it's not making money. In fact, the girlfriend's family is working there and dipping their hands in the money. And um, the girl I knew too, I'd given her a little bit of money early on, 2015, 16. And I said, "What are you doing with the money?" And she said, "Well, I'm buying clothes and I'm sending it to my mother on another island, and she's selling it." I said, "Well, what kind of markup, what kind of profit are you making?" And she kind of looked at me like a deer in headlights. Well, they didn't even think about profit. I give them money, they buy the product. The product is free for them. They can sell it for whatever. It's 100% profit to them. What a deal! I'm going to do another video pretty soon about more specific things about money and how to handle it and that type of thing. And cost of living as well. I've done a number of those videos over many years. Got 1,500 videos up, cost of living, real estate videos, many different types of videos. Anyway, I will get more in depth. Anyway, let's talk about the main issues. So many people come here, and for a number of reasons, they lose access to their money back, mostly from the USA, but I'm sure it happens in other countries as well. I always think, what can go wrong? What can go wrong? Before I came here, I had a couple bank accounts, and I set up a third one. So I've got three, actually four different bank accounts. I don't keep very much money in three of them, but I keep enough there so if something happens to one of them, I can move my money over to a different one, or access that. And there are a number of people who have come here. They've changed their address to a Philippine address. They've dropped their U.S. address, and a lot of people like Charles Schwab. Well, here in the last year or so, Charles Schwab has been saying, if you don't have a U.S. address, we're going to close your account. And that's happened to a couple people that I know personally. Now, a couple of my friends, they spend 4, 5, 6 months here and then 4, 5, 6 months in the U.S. bounce back and forth. So they keep that U.S. address, and that's not an issue with Charles Schwab, who they like it because they refund any ATM fees, for instance. Um, Something else that happens is that well, a lot of these banks, if you use their credit cards overseas, they will charge you not just the interest rate if you don't pay it off right away, but they will charge you an extra fee for using it in a different country. One of the credit cards, bank companies that I use, Capital One, um, I've got a MasterCard and a Visa card with them, and they've worked flawlessly here in the Philippines, and they do not charge an international fee. Now, I pin a comment, the first comment of almost every video I pin, and in that there's a link to Capital One. They've got some kind of promo going, and you can sign up for their credit cards, one or both of them, and a bank account as well. And you save on that because most banks, most credit card companies will charge a fee for using their card outside of your country. So that is an option. It's in the first pinned comment, Capital One. So my advice is, and I know a couple people. They've got small regional banks, and they seem to be a bigger problem than the bigger banks. The Bank of America, the Wells Fargo's, the other big banks. Whether you like them or hate them, this guy was asking him about what he was doing. No English, no English. So anyway, you should have 2 or 3 ways to access money, if not 4 or 5. And then there are a number of ways to get money. ATMs. The ATMs, they may or may not accept foreign cards. So keep that in mind. And your bank belongs to a network, a banking network. It might be Visa, it might be Plus, some other network. And you need to use an ATM that is connected with your network. And I've had the issue a number of times where I think I was in Iloilo, and I tried, I think, 5 or 6 different ATM machines. A couple of them were out of money. A couple of them just wouldn't give me any money, were out of service, I guess, not online or something. And anyway, that can be an issue, especially once, I've even had it happen here in Cebu City, even in the mall, where you would expect the ATMs to be full of money all the time, but especially during weekends, especially holidays when everybody's traveling, they're going and taking money out for their holiday travels. And boy, get your money early because the ATMs might not have it when you need it, especially on smaller islands. I think I was on Siquijor Island. I think there was one bank that had one ATM that accepted international cards. And the tricycle driver I was using, he told me, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Fortunately, when I got over there, it worked because I had previously had to pay cash at some resorts that I'd stayed in, Dumaguete, and so I was running low on cash. I planned on using my credit cards any place I could. Keeps a good record that way. Plan for things to go wrong, and so that leads me into love scams. Probably the biggest thing with AI, artificial intelligence. It is amazing how good that's getting. A computer can carry on a conversation with you and show you a person that looks real talking to you, and unless you're very, very keen on it, you won't even know the difference. uh, some programs are not nearly as good as some of the very top programs, but yeah, it's amazing. Do you know who you're sending money to? There's a couple people I know. I've got a friend down the hall from me. He's helping support a couple different girls, but that's his choice. He has the money, and he made that choice to help them with some hospital bills help them go to college and a number of different things. If it's your choice, you know the person. But at the same time, a year or so ago, he shut one girl down because he found that she could not produce receipts at a hospital that she kept saying she needed money for some family member. So he finally just shut her down. I personally know a couple other people. They have met the girls here, and they're sending money to one or two of those girls, knowing that they can get back in contact with them when they come here. There again, they have the money, they know what they're doing, and if you've got the money, do what you want with it. But if you don't have the money, you need to you need some financial advice, which is I'm not giving financial advice, but if you want to go broke, thinking with anyway, downtown, getting the downtown area over here, this big park area over here used to be a jeepney and van for hires, and they turned them all out of here. And in fact, they gave them just a day or two to move all out of here, and then they turned it into a food park. I'm not sure if it eventually will get turned into something else or not. I'll tell you about a couple other deals too good to be true. A couple years ago, I had a subscriber email me and give me some details and say, how could I go wrong with this deal? And I'll get into those details. Anyway, you can use money transfer services. Depends on what country you are living in. Different. There's dozens and dozens of money transfer services. There's MoneyGram, there's Remitly, World Remitly, Wise used to be TransferWise, MoneyGram, just dozens of others. And there is some risks. Some people will comment they've never had any problem, but I've had other people comment just like me. I had an account with, I think it was TransferWise, and second or third time I tried to use it, they said that they shut it off, declined. They said we closed your account. Called them, they wouldn't tell me why. Apparently the computer detects fraud. World Remit, the same way. I had an account set up. I sent myself 1,000 US. I probably started with too much. Should have started with a lower amount. Gradually increased it. But walking out the door to go get the money, and got a text message, I think, that said we canceled your account. I called them. No answer. So be careful relying on money transfer services. On a rare occasion now, I use Zoom, which is owned by PayPal, because I have a PayPal account. I can log in with PayPal, and makes it easy for me to move a little money around, and I will send myself U.S. dollars. I will pick up the U.S. dollars and then go exchange them for pesos at the best exchange rate, and that saves me probably 20-30 bucks each time, because Zoom and many of those places, the first initial times they give you an exchange rate might be reasonably good, but later the exchange rate will cost you like 20 bucks because they're giving you a lower exchange rate, some of these places. So it depends on how much you're sending, of course. May or may not be fees included. And each one of these money transfer companies, if you're shipping it from the U.S. or Europe or Australia, they have several different companies where you can pick it up in the Philippines. And the Philippines, remittances, Filipino overseas workers they send like 30 billion U.S. dollars back to the Philippines each year over that. And so the Philippines has lots of places, other money transfer companies. Banks, number of different companies, even some malls, their customer service. They have a place where you can pick up money as well. So it just depends on which of those services you're going to use. Let me know in the comments what kind of issues you've had, successes and not so good experiences here. I was telling you about the guy who, with his, I think he got married very quickly when he came to the Philippines and went to her province and found some property at very low payments. And he said, "What could go wrong?" Well, number of things. Who's a developer? Are they known for actually developing what they the parcels that they sell? My girlfriend was is involved a little bit in real estate part time, and she took over payments from a coworker on some property up in the mountains down south of Cebu City, up above Karkar, I think. And we took a van ride down there to see, went along with another real estate agent. And my own personal feeling, nothing was cleared. There wasn't even a road going up into it. It was a clearing up on a mountain. There was a clearing where you could build something, but nothing was staked out. Nothing had been surveyed, as far as I could tell. Chances are nothing it will ever be built, or it might be 10, 20, 30 years from now. Who knows? But there are probably dozens of different companies, quote unquote companies, that are selling parcels of land different places with no intention. In fact, one of her clients purchased a property in Liloan, just north of town, just not that far, hours drive north of Cebu City. A number of years ago, she had paid the full equity over the years, and still no houses are built. She's in a position where she should be able to take over the property and move in. Nothing has been built on that property, and they've tried to track down the contractor, developer, can't find them. No office, no phone, no email addresses. So be careful. Be careful. I've done quite a number of videos, interviews with JRC, uh, Visa Consultancy and Immigration Services. He is also a real estate broker, and he's got a lawyer on staff. So if you're looking at property, get in touch with not just any lawyer, but somebody like JRC. His contact information is in. I pin a comment, first comment of almost every video, and it has my contact information, has his contact information. They've got offices in their main offices here in Cebu City, across from Ayala Mall. They've got office in Dumaguete, very just down the hall from immigration there, and they've got an office in Manila as well. But he can check out your particular situation, your documents, and let you know if he thinks it's legit or not. In fact, years ago, when I met Jr., he was giving me a ride to a mall, I think, and I pointed out a condominium that I hadn't looked at yet, and he said that developer is always very, very late with finishing their developments. And so yeah, you want to you want to be assured, especially if you're planning on renting it out, or Airbnb-ing it or something like that, that developer is pretty reliable. Oh, the Australian guy I rented from my third place I lived. I've lived in 6 different condos in Cebu City in 9 years. The Australian guy, he had bought a couple more units in Persimmon. They had 2 towers, and they were building 2 more towers, and it was being delayed. And the real estate agent he was dealing with helped him get his money back. And then he purchased something, I think, in Bamboo Bay instead. Anyway, Rib Shack here, yeah, it seems to be very popular with Filipinos. They've got a number of different ribs, and they're in a couple of different malls, at least a couple of different malls, and in the downtown area. I'm coming up on the street right here. It is Cologne Street, going left to right. Number of different malls down here downtown. Metro has a couple malls down here. In fact, this metro, just a couple blocks from the other metro down here, department store. It's got a grocery store. It's got utensils and pots and pans and clothing and business hotel, Cebu Business Hotel across the street, and yeah, you've got Colonnade. I was getting some clarification about the different malls here. 138 Mall across the street. 138 Mall, and you got Colonnade down here. People tell me their grocery store is one of the cheaper in town. I've gone in there and priced very narrow aisles and a lot of people in there. So a lot of people. There's a reason a lot of people down there. But I found the type of items I bought were about the same as I would pay for at Metro grocery store, or sometimes we go to Rustin's just because there's not the huge crowd there is at Metro. Bank accounts. Do you want a Philippine bank account? I know a number of people do have Philippine bank accounts, and it really is up to you. If you're on Social Security from the USA, they will transfer your funds and deposit in a Philippine bank. Um, Suggestion is I'll do a different video about Social Security. I've been doing some research about that, but my own well, the fact of the matter is, if you're on a tourist visa, it means you're here a short time. Most of the time, most banks don't want to open up a bank account for somebody that's here on a tourist visa. So if you're on a marriage visa, a work visa, a retirement visa, much more likely that a bank will open up an account for you. Like so many things, it's who you know. If you know Filipino who can recommend you to a bank, that might help. If you can't open up at one bank, try another bank. They may be willing to open something up, especially if you have a substantial amount of cash to deposit. I know a number of expats who write a check once a month to deposit in their account in the Philippines. And you can set up a dollar account in a Philippine bank and a peso account, one or both. And many people do that, and they write a check for US dollars. They deposit it in their account here, and it oftentimes takes 25, 30 days for that to actually show up in their account. So you've got that waiting period. One thing about banks here, and I'll tell you a little bit about my U.S. experience some years ago, is that if you open a bank account up in one branch, let's say you open up a branch in Mandaue or south in Talisay, south of Cebu City, and you want to make some changes, you need to go to that bank branch to make the changes. Um, I think BPI is one that's trying to do more things digitally so that you can do it online, but I think most banks, that's still a process that is evolving. Years ago, I think I got paid when I was in the noise control business. I got paid in California. Company wrote me a check, and I tried to deposit it at a Wells Fargo bank in California, and they said, no, you have to take it to Arizona to cash it. It's a difference. That your bank account is in Arizona, so you have to deposit in Arizona. That was maybe, I don't know, 20 years ago, something like that. So things have probably changed since then. In fact, I think you can do digital. You can take a picture of a check now and deposit it digitally. I think something that started happening a number of years ago. I rented from a female doctor a number of years ago, second place I lived. And after, I think, 17 months of living in her studio, I met her for lunch. Had given her a notice, and she wrote me out a check for my 2-month security deposit without even checking on the unit. And I was going to fold it up, put it in my wallet, take it to the bank, cash it. And she said, no, don't fold it. Don't fold it. They won't accept it if you fold the check. So something else that you might be aware of. You need to be aware of. Put it that way. There was an issue even a couple of years ago when the Philippines came out with their new 1,000 peso bill, and it's harder to counterfeit, and it feels different, looks a lot different. And there were some stores that were not accepting it if it had been folded. And a lot of these people, they'll fold it 2, 3, 4 different times to make it into a little pocketable type thing. And the government finally came out and said, yes, you have to accept it. It can be folded, but don't write on it, don't tear it, don't, you might have to take it to a bank, get it replaced by a proper clean bill if you mess it up too badly. But anyway, they're coming out with more bills soon, I think, made out of the same type of material. Money versus digital money. This is still a money society, cash society in many places. The big food stores, department stores, electronic stores. Many of them will take credit cards, but number case, I bought a new phone here a month or so ago, and we had to go to a different store. Same owner, different store. Every store doesn't have a credit card processing machine, so we had to go down there. Once you get out of the big city, less and less. I've been to a couple different islands where, yeah, well, we're offline. We take credit cards, but our internet is down, so we can't process. And that's the one case where I started running out of cash. I started paying for a lot of stuff with cash when I thought I was going to be able to use my credit card. Digital money is like Gcash, which is Globe. Globe owns it, not Google. Gcash, and I've got 1,500 pesos, about 30 US dollars in my account. I have tried to verify my account, and I haven't been able to. And I tried the other day, and they want me to jump through a bunch of hoops. I'm going to email them and tell them. I had a friend that had the same issues. You look at their app store, and it's amazing all the negative reviews they get. And I've been behind people in stores where it's taken like 20 minutes to process a Gcash account. Many people use it, but many people have issues with it. There are a number of there's Alipay, there's, I think, Maya Pay, something like that. And I've asked some stores, and they say, yeah, Maya Pay, Alipay seem to work a lot better than Gcash. So ask around. A lot of people use Gcash because Globe is a Philippine company, I guess. They're familiar with Globe, and it's accepted many places, but so are these different digital companies. Got a friend lives down the hall from me. He had, I think he's still arguing with Gcash. He had like, I think 11,000 pesos disappear from his Gcash account, and he's still trying to get that reimbursed, I believe. Stuff like that happens. I mean, it can happen any place in the world, not just here in the Philippines, but something to be aware of. Pickpockets and scammers. I've had a few run-ins with pickpockets here. Lost a couple phones in the middle of a very crushing crowd at Sinulog, big festival, huge festival here in the Philippines. I think up to 4 million people participated in the various events this year, and I had a friend that was in town for a month or two, and he said he went and got involved in it, and he said, oh man, the crushing crowd. He described it the same way. And I've been to 5 different Cinelogs, and not quite as motivated this year to get in the middle of all of that, so I kind of stayed on the fringes, not in the really big crowds anyway. But here in the last couple months, I've had YouTube has recommended a couple of interesting videos, some squid there, and a bunch of other stuff. Or as the Filipinos call it, squid. Different countries, European countries, where you've got a lot of scammers. They've got, like, guess what? You got three cups and a ball or something, and guess what? Guess what cups it under? And you've got not just the guy that's moving the cups around, but you got 3 or 4 people around him, all betting. They're part of the deal. They're part of the group that's trying to scam you into see how easy it is to win here. And I'm starting to see more of the games to separate you from your money and some of the carnivals and types of things here, but not to the extent it is in Europe. My last advice is to have a plan B and C if it doesn't work out for you here in the Philippines. Do you have cash? Do you have a plan? Do you have the ability to go back to your home country without any issues, or do you have and rent a new place or move back in with a friend or something like that? Do you have enough money? Do you have that emergency cash to take care if you can't access your money? I've told the story several times in other videos. I was here 6 months, a little over 6 months maybe, and all of a sudden I didn't get my Social Security payment deposited into my account, and I waited a week and a half, and I called them, and they said, "Oh, we sent you a letter stating that because you for the calculation was wrong, we paid you too much. We're not going to give you a check for 6 months." And you had the option at that time to request just lower payments for X number of months. I don't know, year or two or something like that. Anyway, I think my daughter probably shredded it like she does much of my mail without really checking into it. And anyway, so I never got it. And they said, "Well, if you want, you can go to the embassy in Manila and fill out a form. Might take a couple months to process." And I said, "Well, I didn't come here broke. I can survive 6 months on my savings." So that's what I did. I went without a check for 6 months. Over the 9 years that I've been here, I've met several expats, several people from different countries and different backgrounds, and a couple people I met over these 9 years. One in particular, he was going to stay long term, but all of a sudden, "I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm leaving tomorrow. Got an emergency," and I don't know what the emergency was, but I think it pertained to the Philippines. I don't know if he got in trouble with some girl or or yeah. My feeling was just from what I heard, the little bit I heard was that his issue was not back home, somebody relative dying, something like that, but that it was something that happened to him here in the Philippines. Um, could happen. You need to be careful. There are scammers out there looking to blackmail you one way or another, put you in situations you don't want to be in, but then they have a record of it. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching if you're still with me at 33 minutes. See you in the next video.